You'll never guess what. Arena Commander version 0.9 is finally out. Bloody hell. They made it. And it still has a couple of issues, but mostly it's not bad. It's not all just about the new game modes, such as the racing and the cooperative Vandal Swarm multiplayer. There's also a whole bunch of new hangars. This is the self-land hangar. It's at the budget end of the market. It's like the Star Citizen equivalent of a long stay car park. Very, very limited hangar capacity. Only 3 ships. That's it. That's all that this thing has space for. And it might be cheap, but it's I mean, just look at the detail. So much stuff here. First thing we're going to do before we show you the new racing mode is just take a wander around the hangar. This is the locker from another universe. Check out the 8-bit pin-up art there. It's basically a throwback to the Wing Commander games. That one doesn't seem to open. Am I clicking on the right thing? I think so. Oh, this one does. Hey, there we go. What's that? Looks like, I don't know, something really, really scientific for idiots. Oh, Chris Roberts, you so silly. Alright, let's pop into the elevator and take a look upstairs. You know, I was talking to a UK games developer last week, and he was talking about the way that Star Citizen is getting its financing, because the conversation was basically about how difficult it is to get a game financed throughout the development process unless you already have a proven track record. You know, which sounds pretty straightforward, but he was talking about Chris Roberts and the whole Kickstarter and pledge backing that has raised over $50 million for Star Citizen, and he couldn't make his mind up whether or not Chris Roberts was an idiot or a genius. he was at the Gamescom presentation for Star Citizen. Chris Roberts was unveiling the new variants of the Constellation ship, and yeah, they're just basically new skins for exactly the same ship, and they're selling them for hundreds of dollars. And you know, any sane person would be thinking, what, that's such a rip-off. But when he was doing the presentation and he showed the Constellation that had the jacuzzi, the crowd went wild. It was, yes, shut up and take my money. He's definitely doing something right. Now, these various different hangars, you don't actually choose which hangar you're going to have from within Arena Commander itself. What you do is you have to go to the Robert Space Industries webpage, log in, and then from your hangar selection in your own personal menu, you choose which hangar you're going to have. Now, there are 4 different hangars available, but you might not necessarily have access to all of them, depending on the level of commitment that you have pledged to Star Citizen. This is your basic, anybody can have hangar. As I said, it's sort of like the Star Citizen equivalent of a long-term car park. It's called the Self-Land hangar. You can basically find these hangars everywhere, and they get steadily more exclusive as you go up in the level of commitment that you've pledged to the game. And you know, you can basically pick which hangar you want. If you have access to the Pirate hangar, which is the top of the line hangar, then you don't necessarily like the look of it. You can always use the Self-Land hangar. You just pick the hangar that you prefer out of the 4 that you have. And obviously, if you've got access to the top of the line hangar, then you also have access to all of the other hangars as well. So what's next? Well, the next hangar up is the Aero View hangar, and this is it. And it's pretty impressive. It certainly looks expensive, and yet functional at the same time. Not nearly as messy and cheap looking as the Self-Land. There's my Constellation. The Cutlass parked over there. Oh, there's the helmet. I'll just put that on.
Personal storage lockers are available for use on floor 3 outside.
I'll find the hotspot. Come on, there it is. Now let's go and take a look around the Aero View hangar. So, well, there's the Constellation, of which there are now 4 different variants available. This is the Andromeda version. Over there's my Cutlass. which totally isn't a pirate ship at all. Honest.
894, please report to the administration office.
Those, I can see the catwalk and those raised gantries over there. Let's see what the view looks like from up there. And going up. There we go. Some sort of generator thing going on over by the landing bay doors. Each one of these hangars comes with a well, control room, for want of a better word. It looks like the Aero View hangar control room is over here. Let's just have a quick look down at the constellation. You may notice the over there, that tiny little red thing is the M50 Space Superiority Starfighter. It's basically designed for speed. It's one of the racing ships essentially. And one of the other things that you can do with Arena Commander v0.9 is obviously the ships like the 350R and the M50. Ooh, that's impressive. Are now available for purchase in the pledge store. But if you already have something like the 325R, which I did, then you can buy upgrade packages for it. It's $30 to upgrade the 325R to the M50. Oh, jukebox. That's new. Oh, okay. It's a bit loud actually. I think we'll turn it off. So this is the hangar control bay. And they mostly all have the same features across all of the different hangars. It's just a question of the aesthetics. So that is the Aero View hangar. Let's pop over and get a closer look at the Stealth Hornet. There it is, with the M50 and the Aegis Dynamics Avenger, casting a very nice shadow over the hangar bay door in front of it. So that's the Aero View hangar. What comes next? Well, this is the Revel and York hangar, and I think you can see where all the money went. According to the brochure, with its handcrafted wood panelling, dynamic wall screens and botanical gardens, the Revel and York hangar will feel more like home than home. Ooh, and there it is. Yeah, very, very nice. First thing we can see is the Constellation parked just there. Over on the other side of the Constellation, the Aegis Dynamics Avenger, there's smaller bays for the smaller ships, but the large ships get these big bays, the Cutlass and the Constellation. There is some issues with the new hangars and this current version of Arena Commander, and sometimes some of the textures take a while to load in. It sorts itself out the longer you spend in the hangar. It's just, you know, some issues. As you can see there, those packing crates, the textures on them aren't particularly well defined. Let's pop into the elevator and go up to the second level. Oh, look at this. Yeah, our hangars feature wooden panelling. Shut up and take my money. It's yeah, oh man. Yeah, Chris Roberts, he's onto something. Oh, here's the locker from another universe again. There we go. That 8-bit digital pin-up art. Straight out of Wing Commander. So let's have a look at the hangar control room. And it looks like a business class lounge in an airport. Yeah, well, you can definitely see where the money went on this hangar, that's for sure. Now, one of the reasons why this version of Arena Commander was so long in coming, and you can see I'm trying to find out whether or not I can actually access this door here, is because of things like this. There's a lot of stuff that is going on in the back end of Arena Commander and the hangar module that is just not fully functional yet, but they had to put in order to make this ready for future updates. The room system. The hangar that you're in is basically just one room inside a whole room complex that could be an asteroid station, a space station, a city, whatever. So all of that background framework has been built into this version of Arena Commander, which basically means that future updates are going to be a lot easier to implement. Things like the first-person shooter module, which is still, I think, on schedule to be unveiled at PAX Australia. And it's all just the back-end framework that they've built in to make things like that easier to just plug in for future updates. This is a big old patch, by the way. It's a 15 gigabyte download. There's a hell of a lot more gone into it than just what you can see on screen in front of you. And what you can see on screen in front of you is remarkably pretty.
17 landing in Hangar 3.
So that's the Revel in York hangar, and it's pretty damn impressive. But there is also another one. And here it is. There's a number of different names for this hangar. The VFG Industrial Hangar, the Asteroid Hangar, or the Pirate Hangar. If you've got access to this, you've got access to all of the other hangars in the game. And if you have access to this hangar, this will be the default hangar chosen for you the first time you log into Arena Commander version 0.9. So this was actually the first thing that I clapped eyes on when I flashed it up after downloading the 15 gigabyte patch. It's nice, but I think I actually prefer the Revel in York or the Aero view hangar. And of course, you know, if you've got access to them all, then you don't have to choose the top of the line one. You can pick whichever one you want. Up to the control bay in this one. It really is. You know, it just looks incredibly well. It looks like a pirate asteroid hangar. I suppose it's quite appropriately named. Again, some issues there with some of the textures. But the longer you stay in the hangar, the textures sort themselves out. I've got a couch. I can't use it, but I've got a couch. It's the jukebox. Very nice. Not too sure about the tune though. If there are controls for adjusting which music track you play, I haven't found them. All I can do with the jukebox so far is turn it on and turn it off. Let's go for a look around. So there's my constellation, and it does kind of look at home in this place. The Cutlass. Take a wander down to the other end. The old grey cat buggy there. The Hornet. The M50, which is one of the new racing ships, the M50 and the 350R. And the Aegis Dynamics Avenger behind it. Now, again, as you can see, some of the textures are taking their time loading in, so we'll come back to the M50 later once the textures have had a chance and take a closer look at it. The M50, it's over $100 to buy the M50. Obviously when the full game goes live, then you can just buy the thing with in-game credits from in-game retailers. However, if you already have a ship like the 325R, then you can upgrade it to an M50. I think the price was $30. So instead of paying the full price, you can just upgrade an existing ship. And that's pretty much what I did. So my 325R is gone, and in its place is this. There we go, the textures are loaded in. Origin Jumpworks M50 racing ship, which is basically just two huge engines with a cockpit and a couple of guns strapped onto it. And of course it's in red, because red ones go faster. Everybody knows that. We're going to jump into the cockpit, and unfortunately this is where I started running into my first real problems with Arena Commander. The first thing I wanted to try doing was to just jump straight into one of the racing matches. And here we go. Arena Commander interface is loading in. Pick the ship that you want to pilot. Okay, we'll go for the M50. Spectrum match or drone sim. Yeah, Spectrum match. We'll play against other players. There we go. Now, and this is where you choose the kind of match that you want. It's all pretty straightforward. Battle Royale, Capture the Core, Squadron Battle. Cooperative Vandal Swarm, that's a new feature, and there it is, Classic Race. There are actually 3 different speedways that you can choose from, but I just went straight for the first one, figuring that that's what everybody would be queuing for, and this is where I ran into my first problem. I was 96th in the queue, so I waited, and I waited, and I waited a bit more, and then it started to feel like trying to queue up for a simulator battle in War Thunder Ground Forces. And then eventually, when I reached the top of the queue, couldn't find a game for me. which was a little annoying because at this point I'd spent 5 minutes sitting in a queue, reached the top of the queue, and my only option was to go right back to the bottom of the queue again. So it has issues, but I was undeterred. I thought, well, I'll have another go. And this time the queue's twice as long. So now I'm looking at spending 10 minutes sitting in a queue with absolutely no guarantee of actually getting a game at the end of it. So I thought, screw it, I'll just go single player and have a practice run around one of the racetracks. My first attempt was exactly as disastrous as you are probably imagining it was going to be. I'm in the M50. Start off, oh, there's the first gate, no problem, I've got this. Using mouse and keyboard, by the way, I didn't bother to plug the joystick in for this. Of course, finding the second gate... Yeah, I've actually driven off the track. This is one hell of an agile ship, though. I think this thing's going to be very hard to fly well, but very, very satisfying once you get the hang of it. So while I'm just flailing around pathetically trying to find out where I should be going, oh, there's the gate. But just have a look at the, you know, for want of a better word, the racetrack. This city floating in the clouds, it is very, very nice. So I sort of failed a bit for a few minutes, and then I kind of started to get the hang of it. Oh. Not quite yet, of course. I'm still at the failing miserably stage. Really just admiring the scenery at the moment. They've also introduced a whole 6 degrees of freedom flight model. I don't know how I managed to not hit anything there. New sounds, the afterburners work differently. There's a whole bunch of different things that's just completely new in this version of Arena Commander. Full details in the patch notes, obviously. So, okay, right, it looks pretty. You've had enough of seeing me just... I mean, I haven't even made it through the second gate yet. I was terrible. But it didn't take long to get the hang of it. I mean, my first lap was an utter disaster. It took about 5 minutes, but by the time I was onto the second lap, I'd pretty much sussed out what I was supposed to be doing and how I was supposed to be doing it. Obviously, there up in front, you've got the holographic racing markers indicating the direction to the next gate. Yes, obvious, I know, but what can I say? I'm crap. But this is actually a lot of fun, and it really doesn't take long to get used to it. Now, of course, you can see my system specs in the video description, and you're going to need, I mean, to get it looking like this, you're going to need a powerful machine. But if you do have a powerful machine, I mean, holy shit, look at this. And, you know, it's great just to see some actual solid progress being made on Star Citizen, because we've gone a long time without anything really new. The initial version of the dogfighting module, as it was called back then, was supposed to be out last Christmas, and here we are 9 months later, and this is the first real piece of progress that we've seen in Star Citizen, you know, that we can actually get our hands on. And yes, I am flying inverted here, ooh, go me. But yeah, the first piece of actual progress that we can see in Star Citizen in around 9 months. But all of the framework is now in place, so we should start seeing new updates with a much, much greater frequency. And this is fun. This is really, really fun. And fun is so important. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's so incredibly true. Previous versions of Arena Commander have come and gone, and I have jumped into them, had a look around, done a video, and never gone back to them. This is the first time I have played Arena Commander since my last Star Citizen video. They looked amazing, but they just didn't grab me. I never felt compelled to replay them. This is fun, and I will be playing this again and trying to beat these lap times. And, you know, that is the single biggest recommendation I think any reviewer can give of a game. Is it any fun? Yeah. Are you going to want to play it again? Yeah. So, Star Citizen Arena Commander 0.9. Very impressed, and I hope you will be too. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.